I never imagined a routine mission to the outer rim of the Epsilon Quadrant would change my life forever. As a communications officer aboard the Starwave Explorer, I was accustomed to strange signals, uncharted planets, and the occasional brush with cosmic phenomena. But nothing prepared me for her. The planet, designated Xylar 7, was a jewel in the void. Its oceans shimmered like liquid silver, and towering crystal formations pierced the sky like frozen lightning. We landed in a clearing surrounded by crystalline spires, the air humming with a frequency I could almost, but not quite, hear. I was the first to step off the shuttle. My boots crunched on the crystalline soil, sending sparks into the iridescent air. That's when I saw her. She emerged from behind a massive quartz formation, her form both human-like and utterly alien. Her skin seemed to ripple with subtle, iridescent hues, and her eyes were like twin supernovae, infinite and impossibly bright. She carried herself with a grace that suggested intelligence far beyond our own. My heart skipped. I knew the protocol. Make contact slowly, avoid sudden movements, and do not assume hostility. Yet, despite every rational instinct, I found myself smiling. And in a voice steadier than I felt, I said the words, "You have an incredible presence." Her gaze fixed on me. For a moment, the world seemed to still, the crystalline hum fading into silence. Then, she did something I could never have predicted. She tilted her head and smiled. Not a simple curve of lips, but a radiant, almost luminescent expression that seemed to reach into the deepest parts of my mind. She spoke, or more accurately, her voice resonated inside my head. It wasn't words, exactly, but a feeling, warmth, curiosity, and amusement all at once. "You are the first to ever compliment me," she conveyed, without fear, without expectation. "That is intriguing." My pulse raced. I had been trained for first contact situations, but nothing in any manual covered a scenario like this. Most species reacted with aggression, or fear, or indifference. Not her. I swallowed. I meant it sincerely. "You're extraordinary." Her eyes flickered with light, almost like a heartbeat in visual form. Then, in a movement so fluid it defied physics, she stepped closer. The air around her shimmered, and I felt a tingle race along my nerves. "Do you wish to see what lies beyond the ordinary?" I nodded, unable to speak. Without warning, she reached out, placing a hand on my chest. I expected pain or energy or some kind of assault, but instead, a wave of emotion washed over me. Joy, memory, longing, understanding. I felt as though she was showing me who I truly was, beneath all the training, the duty, the walls I had built. When the sensation ebbed, I was trembling. She was smiling. "Few humans can withstand such transparency," she said. "Few would dare." Then she did something even more shocking. She extended her other hand, and a crystal shard from the ground rose between us, suspended by her will. It began to rotate, slowly at first, then faster, projecting a holographic map of the stars around Xylar 7. "These are the paths you have yet to walk," she conveyed. "Some are safe. Some are not." The shard pulsed, and suddenly I understood. The galaxy wasn't just a collection of planets and stars, it was alive. Patterns of consciousness threaded through the cosmos like veins, connecting life, matter, and energy. And she was part of that network, or at least a navigator within it. I stepped back, awestruck. You can manipulate matter like that?" She tilted her head, her eyes sparking with amusement. "Matter is only a suggestion. Perception shapes reality." I had no words. Everything I had known about physics, energy, even life itself, was unraveling. And yet, oddly, I felt more grounded than ever. Then came the moment that would define everything. "Why do you compliment me?" she asked. Her voice, or thought, pierced me like a comet. I hesitated. Humans were often blunt or deceitful, but I couldn't lie. "Because I see you," I admitted. "Not as a specimen, not as a phenomenon. I see you." For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then her laugh, if it could be called that, rippled through the air, sending crystalline particles dancing. It was melodic, impossible, and entirely intoxicating. "You are brave and foolish. Perhaps those qualities are linked," she said. And then, in an action that made my knees weaken, she stepped closer until her presence enveloped me. She pressed a finger to my chest, directly over my heart, and I felt an explosion of light, not around me, but inside me. Visions assaulted me, cities carved into asteroid belts, oceans glowing with bioluminescent life, civilizations communicating through thought alone. I saw wars averted, friendships formed across impossible distances, and even my own life, choices I had never made but now could see the consequences of. When the visions faded, I was on my knees, gasping. She extended her hand to lift me. I took it, barely comprehending that I wasn't dreaming. "Few humans understand the weight of admiration," she said. "Even fewer feel it without expectation. You are unique." And then came the moment I will never forget. She leaned closer, and in a gesture both intimate and shocking, she whispered, directly into my consciousness, not my ears, "I wish to share the journey with you." It wasn't a proposition. It wasn't even a question. It was a command of the heart, a pull so strong, I felt it in my very bones. I would be honored," I managed to say aloud. Her laugh returned, softer this time, like starlight scattering across a dark sea. She stepped back, her iridescent form blending into the crystalline environment. Then, with a motion of her hand, a portal shimmered into existence, a swirling vortex of light and energy, humming with 1,000 untold stories. Step through, and the universe will never be the same. Step back, and the universe will remember you as you are. I hesitated only for a heartbeat. Then, driven by a combination of awe, curiosity, and an unshakable pull toward her, I stepped forward. The moment I crossed the threshold, I was no longer on Xylar 7. I was everywhere and nowhere. The galaxy unfolded before me like a living map, and at the center, she waited, smiling, radiant, and impossibly alive. We moved as one through the stars, witnessing wonders no human had ever imagined. Planets where thought shaped reality, nebulae that sang with the voices of ancient beings, civilizations thriving in harmony across light years. And through it all, I understood her, not as an alien, not as a phenomenon, but as a being who could reveal the universe itself to those brave enough to see. Days, years, perhaps centuries passed. I could not measure time in the usual way, but each moment was filled with discovery, understanding, and a profound connection that transcended language, culture, or even biology. And always, at the center of it all, was her. The alien woman who had heard my simple compliment, and whose response had shattered my perception of reality forever. One day, or what I perceived as a day, she turned to me, her eyes glowing brighter than any star. "You have seen much. You have understood much. Yet the greatest discovery is yourself." I realized she was right. In reaching for the stars, I had also reached into my own soul. In seeing her, I had also seen myself, the fears, the hopes, the capacity for wonder I had buried under duty and reason. And then she did something I had not anticipated. She touched my forehead lightly, and for a moment, our consciousnesses merged. I understood her fully, her joys, her fears, her loneliness, and I gave her mine in return. It was overwhelming, intoxicating, terrifying, and utterly beautiful. When we parted, I could still feel her essence within me, a constant reminder that the universe was alive, conscious, and deeply, intimately connected. "Where will we go next?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Wherever the stars take us," she replied, her voice a melody that resonated in my mind and heart alike. And so, hand in hand, mind in mind, we disappeared into the cosmos, explorers not just of space, but of existence itself. In that moment, I understood something fundamental. Sometimes a single word, a single compliment, can open doors not just between hearts, but between worlds. And in that truth, I found wonder beyond imagining and a companion beyond belief. Ending summary. The story concludes with the protagonist fully embracing the journey with the alien woman. Through a simple, sincere compliment, a bond forms that transcends species and reality itself. The ending emphasizes personal growth, the limitless wonders of the universe, and the power of connection, leaving the reader with a sense of awe, intimacy, and cosmic wonder.